The therapeutic potential of cannabinoids on health system. The recent trend for legalization of medicinal cannabis and cannabinoid-containing products, together with their soporific effects, has led to a surge of interest of their potential therapeutic role in the management of some common sleep disorders, such as insomnia, sleep-disordered breathing, and restless leg syndrome, and less common disorders such as narcolepsy and parasomnias, chronic pain management, epilepsy, etc. Although much of the preclinical and clinical data were derived from studies with relatively small sample sizes and limited by biases in the assessment, and in clinical trials lack of allocation concealment, as a whole, there is a potential therapeutic role for cannabinoids in the management of several health issues. Clinical trials are underway for several health disorders, but there remains a substantial need for rigorous large multi-center studies to assess the dose, efficacy, and safety of the various types of cannabinoids on specific targeted issues. Founder and COO of Cube Psytech Corporation, from Canada, Srinivasa Reddy.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for the support. It's been delayed for a couple of minutes. I'm Srinivasa Reddy, and I'm a founder and the COO of Cube Psytech, and also COO in Cross Biomedicals, which is a cannabis company, the licensed cannabis company, focusing on the therapeutic potential and then the working with the scientific impact on the cannabis. Thanks for joining me for tonight and then discussing about the therapeutic potential. Previously, Jimmy was explaining a very great topic about the cannabis genetics. The cannabis genetics is nearly 700 different types of genetics strains available on the so far identified one, but we still don't know like what is the number of unidentified genetics is available. And every genetics has its own potential of the compounds, the mixing of cannabinoids, which is from the different factors. Also, it's not only the cannabinoids existing in the plants, but the terpenes and the other non-identified chemicals. Every molecule has a direct or indirect potential on the health, the human health or the veterinary health. So some of the projects that what we are working on is proving the potential of the cannabis. So the cannabinoids are of different types. One is the nearly 400, more than 480 different cannabinoid systems. Out of these, 110 are active compounds, are active phytocannabinoids. These are considered to be the very, very useful compounds, but the rest of the nearly 300 and above compounds is yet to identify what is their potential and then what is the benefits. But while taking or consuming the cannabinoids without having a potential information, it can have an adverse impact or it can have a positive impact. But it is not optimized way that we would be able to treat the people. So the potentiality comes. The potential positive impact can come only based on the research and development and the identification of the cannabinoids. Then it's valuable. So the type of cannabinoids, as per our understanding, is macrocannabinoids, microcannabinoids, and the nanocannabinoids. I represented in a pyramid shape. The pyramid shape is the main major component where what we can see is in the top of the cannabinoids, which is the macrocannabinoids. Macrocannabinoids combines with the THC, CBD, CBG, CBN, and then a few other compounds, which is identified compounds. Microcannabinoids is also some of the compounds which is required to enhance the functionality of the macrocannabinoids. Nanocannabinoids is the binding factor. It's a small precursor molecules which is unidentified. It's very difficult to identify as well. These compounds are responsible for binding the molecules between the receptor and the molecule. Just I give an example here, the brick and the cement and the sand. Bricks are the macrocannabinoids. It's binding between the different molecules. And microcannabinoids is a sand, and the nanocannabinoids is a the cement. And then below, there is a picture representing how a molecule can bind and perfectly align into the receptor. This is the mechanism. It's like a lock and key mechanism. Every molecule that what you combine, they prepare the molecules into targeting the different issues or different health issues, will be designed particularly. If not designed properly, it will have an adverse effect, or it will not have the significant impact on the targeted disease. The next slide. And so far, as we know, the research and development, the fortunate era of the cannabinoids resolution is begin in 2000. But it is not legalized in several countries, but the research and development was allowed. And then from 2000 until 2021, per year, number of years publications in 2021 and the 2020 is nearly 220 to 240 publications, which is a great resources for the knowledge. And then so far, from the beginning, the data is from the 1900 to the 2021, the only existing of 2,135 publications, which is when we calculate about what is the potential. It's an ancient plant having a history of the thousands of years, and then even going back into the saints and everything. But we don't know what is the molecules, what is the combination of the potential cannabinoids can trigger or treat the different health issues. That's where the research and development is a highly important to understand what are the strains, what are the genetics, and what is the capability to produce the different cannabinoid systems, what is the proportions that we need to use it for the medical uses, for the potential treatment for the different issues. And going to the next slide. The slide explains, so far in 2,300 publications, what are the major targeted field of research and development here. The major the treatment areas, which is right now in 2020 and the 2021, increased research and development is in the pharmacology and the pharmacy, which shows the impact of the efficacy of the molecules. And then going back into the neuroscience. Neuroscience is also like a psychedelics, the psychoneurotherapy, and then the biomolecular, like a cancer research. This is like one of the advanced treatments that is showing so much of positive impact. So today we will be discussing only a few examples. This is just a quickly, like I wanted to summarize what are the areas of the researchers is going to have going on right now, and then the potential of the substance, the cannabinoid substances, it to identify. I don't say even 5 years, it's going to solve every issues that what we are facing right now, but there is a possibilities that we can cure a lot of issues using the potential cannabinoids existing in the different strains. Even THC from one plant to the THC from the other plant, other strain, can have the positive impact or adverse impact. It's not just the THC you consume, it's going to heal everything. And an example, reproductive system on the sperm production, one of the studies conducted in the USA shows that there is a genetics produce the azoospermia, and then there is another genetics, THC, that suppresses the sperm productions. It's impact that we need to know. What is the compositions that we need to use it with the THC or the CBDs? These are the major cannabinoids, and what is the negative impact? So next slide. Some of the example that what we talk about, the major concerns right now in the world is the cancer. It's a yearly update in the WHO. The data, what we got it, is nearly 20 million populations. It's both gender, like a male and the female are facing different types of a cancer. The cancer is very difficult to treat the cancer in a modern medicines because it takes a chemotherapy and the many stages. But the human is built naturally with the cannabinoid receptors. Every portion of your body has the CB1 and then the CB2 receptors, majorly CB1 into the neuroreceptors. The CB2 is more like available in every portion of your body. So it's a gift, but we don't understand the value of the plant where it is going to stop and then where it is going to the work, which cells are going to be targeted. So this is the mechanisms that we need to understand, that the proportion of the molecule versus the strains that targets into the specific molecule, the specific cells in the body. That's where we need to understand. It's taking a lot of time, but there is enough studies conducted, and there is a good evidences that shows cell arrest and then a cell site, the cell death can be enhanced using the different strains. And it's a kind of a big challenge right now because of the funding and because of the legalization aspects and then the government policies. But there is a great potential for the cannabis to come as a therapeutic treatment for the cancer. And then this is the natural solution comparing to the naturally available medicines that can be used, understanding the values of it and the proportions, and then we can treat the cancer, different types of a cancer. Next slide. In the body, we have more than 20 types of a cancers. So these are the clinical studies show the potential benefits of cannabinoids, not limiting to the neuroreceptors itself, because there are stress release and then sleeping issues and other issues. But there is the very good evidence on the cancer and then pain management, painkillers, wound healing management. These are some other examples that we come across. We work with the different universities as well. And the cannabinoids, so as we see here, the anandamide and then CB1, CB2, and then different cannabinoids, receptors. These are forms of the receptors, which is not only the CB1 and the CB2, there are different receptors also capable of receiving the cannabinoids, but it is not necessarily the CBD and the THC. It's a different cannabinoids that has the compatibility to carry the molecules and then exactly fit into the receptors. Those are the receptor expression in the cancerous cells. This showed, which is not identified as exactly the cannabinoids of THC and the CBD, CBG, CBM, but it is beyond those things. But it still is a cannabinoids, plant-based phytocannabinoids. It is called the receptors is called cannabinoid expression profiles. In a different cancerous cell types. And then it's a pretty interesting topic to discuss further, but since we have a limited timeline, we cannot really go through too much. Next slide. And it's not only the cannabinoids from the plant. Once we understand the value of the potential value of the plant cannabinoids, phytocannabinoids, or even the regular cannabinoids in the plants, it is possible that understanding the structural molecule and the designing that into the synthetic molecules are more capable of targeting a specific cell site. But it will not have an entourage effect comparing to the plant-based cannabinoids, but it is still possible that you can able to target and then kill the specific cells. This is an example that gives a potential target for the apoptosis, increased cell death and the cell starving in the cancerous cells by injecting the different types of cannabinoids, identified cannabinoids. But the problem, one of the issues right now, what is the gender research and development, gender-based research and development, and also the different age group, that we don't have the proper data between the adults and then the infant. Infants also suffering from the different types of cancer, but cannabis is not tested in the infants' cancers right now, the pediatric cancers. So it's a great opportunity for the research and development, further research and development. So far, what we understand right now, the leukemia and the neuroblastoma, these are the few studies they have done. But in the adult human being, it's more than 10 different types of cannabis. The cannabinoids has been experimented in the cancerous cells. It shows a positive impact. It's not immediately declared as the medicine, but it is going to be the very, very good solution for to control the prognosis and control the proliferation of the cells. Next slide. This is another example. This is a real-time the example that the cancer cells of the different sources has been taken, and the combination of the THC, combination of TCBD, isolated from the different strains, and then experimented and then treated with the cancerous cells. If you see in the left side, the diagram, this is the confocal microscopic diagram, and then the fluorescent proteins attached here. And then when you see the THC has really like a lot of impact on the cannabis, the cells are destroyed, the cancer cells are destroyed. That means the cell death is increased. And then the CBD has a very good impact as well. But the control samples, there is nothing, not much the impact on the control samples. And then when it comes into the right side image, and then you can see the cancer cells in the control cells and the cancer cells impacting and the THC impacting on the cancer cells. These are all like the THC went in like a tagged THC, the protein, and the expression shows that there is a huge impact, the traveling of the THC inside the cells, and then destroying the cells, the starving the cells. So it shows the promising results for the future, like in the next 2 to 3 years, or even 5 years, we will be able to have a positive results on the cannabis as a one of the major potential therapeutic agent for the cancer treatment, different cancer treatment. Next slide. As I mentioned before, the cannabinoids is not only for the cancer treatment, but it is also a new varieties of the diseases that we are here. We are here to cure only through the potential pharmaceutical medications. But we do understand that, as previously I explained, the nature has created a system in our body. Every cell in our body, which is including the colon, which is the gut microflora, and then a colon, it has the receptors. The receptors activity, the receptors are mentioned here, and then the compounds which can be able to bind exactly into the colon receptors. These are the compounds: CBN, CBG, CBD, THC, and then the anandamide, and different the cannabinoids, which can be endogenous cannabinoids or phytocannabinoids and the synthetic cannabinoids. These are the different. But synthetic cannabinoids, as I said, that the potential of entourage effect is very less. But you can target the molecules, target like a specific targeting. So example of this is inflammatory bowel disease. A lot of people in the USA and the European countries are suffering with inflammatory bowel disease because of the food habits. So that's why having the CBD and the THC in a moderate concentration with the proportions, the combined proportions, will have a proper the positive impact. That's the paper. It's like anybody wanted to, they copy the paper and then I'll go through. And then next slide. There is another example of the potential therapeutic benefits of the cannabinoids is the wound healing properties. Wound healing process is a process of curing the epithelial cells and rebuilding of the chronic wounds. Chronic wounds is diabetic patients are suffering from the gangrenes, and then people who are suffering the severe accidental damages. Those are the people. And then it shows a prominent and the promising results when you use the cannabinoids in a proportion, and then using it in a certain types of a stage of the healing. It's called as a keratinocyte phenotype modulations. That the process is increasing, showing the 40% higher positive results comparing to just using the regular medications. So this is a very the positive development of using the cannabinoids. But again, as I said, that it is depending on the different number of the strains and then the potential of the genetics, potential genetics. We need to segregate internal and then external impacts of the plants producing the different cannabinoids. Next slide. And the other big issues right now, insomnia and then sleeping disorder. Sleeping disorders can cause us a concentration problem, impulse control issues, risk of anxiety, aggression, tremendous aggressions. These are all like sleeping issues, and it can be easily cured by understanding the different types of cannabinoids available in the plant. Again, strains is really important, like the previous speaker was talking about. And then our team is working on endless research and development with cancer research and development and sleepless, and then also with the wound healing properties, what we are working with, tying up with the different university and the institutes as well. So the next slide. Next slide, please. Yeah, so thank you so much. It's a great opportunity to be a part of the CISW, and anybody having questions, feel free to contact. We are into the research and development majorly, and then we focus even beyond the cannabinoids. It's the terpenoids, cannabis-based terpenoids, and like flavonoids as well, which has potential therapeutic benefits as well. And yeah, thank you so much.